Hello and welcome back to Steve's Retro Loft. And Merry Christmas, this is the Christmas edition. And in the spirit of the Morecambe and Wise Christmas special, that was Jingle Bells with some of the right notes in some of the right order. Anyway, it's time to have a review of some old magazines. And again, I've chose Personal Computer Weekly from December 1982. So let's have a look and see what was happening then. A couple of things. Apologies if you can hear the rain in the background. Obviously, I've mentioned before, this is a loft and I have Velux windows, and sometimes the rain hits it, and it seems to be biblical at the moment, this level of rain that we've had in December. Apologise for the slight rainy sound effects. Also thanks to user Sinclair_research_limited on Threads, who weekly posts some code, and a couple of weeks ago he posted the ZX81 version of the Christmas tree, and I slightly coloured it and add the colourful baubles and the terrible music. But thank you very much, and I do quite enjoy your little programs you put on. So yeah, there you go. I'll put a link to his account on in the comments, so you can find him if you want to. But there you go. Anyway, let's straight up with the news. And this is, as I say, from the 2nd of December 1982. And first up, we got Atari has continued to campaign against alleged copyright infringements. So taking Commodore to court. Can't remember if it was Commodore that took to court a few weeks ago as well. But yeah, there you go. So Atari, when they had a little bit more relevance, taking people to court. Didn't they do that throughout their entire history? Anyway, so Sinclair news now. So Timex strike, but there's some doubts remain over production. And yeah, as usual, the Timex factory seemed to be at this sort of moment in time going on strike and affecting the Spectrum and ZX81 assembly. So let's dive into the news. And yeah, again, so the Timex strike is coming to an end. So yeah, you hopefully should be able to get some Spectrums in the shops for very late in December. It doesn't say that, but I'm guessing that's what they mean. Now, what we've got here, a computer show, the Which computer show, held at the National Exhibition Centre in Birmingham, costs £3 and is limited to over 18. Boo. Interestingly, it's the Which computer show, and it's got a London phone number. I guess that's where Which are based. So, what else have we got? Let's have a look. We have the Presto service has been expanded. Presto. I suppose if you used it, you used it. If you didn't, you didn't. Mentioned last month, I think the Lynx computer from Computers will be stopped by Dixon's, Lasky's and Spectrum computer centres. Now, I've never seen this device, so whether it came out or not, I don't know. Let me know if you had one. So, what have we got further down? So, stacking the deck for the VIC. So, Stack Computer Services has produced an 40/80 column card for the VIC-20. I mean, to be fair, the one thing about I always thought about the VIC-20 was it's quite blocky graphics, and also the awful case colour. It just seemed to be horrible. But if you wanted to have text on your VIC-20 that was 80 column, this is the card for you. So look, Fawn EMI forms a computer division. Yeah, I'm sure they did some. It mentions the assembly work on Sinclair Spectrum and some producing software for the Atari VIC-20s. I'm sure I've seen some games with Fawn EMI on there at some point. If you can remember any of their good games, let us know. Now, Acorn in the news. They've got a new shiny computer called the Electron, which has been held back until 1983. Yeah, anyone that's seen Micromen will know, I think that was a problem. They wanted to sell it for Christmas, and they couldn't get it into the shops by Christmas. So, and I think also reading anecdotally elsewhere that the issue they had was more to do with they created their own ULA. Obviously, the BBC was a great machine, but it had about 4 billion chips, and I think they tried to cut that down on the Electron and went down the Sinclair route of using a ULA. So, Oric, and then there were 3. Oric Products have announced a third version of its Oric 1 microcomputer to be produced. So, shouldn't it be called the Oric 3? Anyway, so it's not. It's just basically a 16, 32 and a 48K version. So it's it's basically one machine with different memory. Yeah, Anyway, and something called Possum is help for the handicaps. Now, I do have I think for the BBC Master System, I have a sort of special needs sort of keyboard, which I will dig out at some point when I eventually dig out the Master System out of the loft. And I'm a bit worried about doing that because I might have left batteries in it. And you know what happens when you leave batteries in? They tend to go to pieces. So yeah, what I'm also going to do this month is we'll take a look at some of the adverts as well. So we have an Atari 800 advert. Again, it's one of those massive computers which I never really saw. I think they did the Atari 400 that had the Hobel ZX81 style massive version of that keyboard. But yeah, so the Atari 800, yep, there it is if you wanted to have a look at it. So move forward a week. Torch Computers have slashed the prices of their products by up to 30%. So it drops from £4,000 to £2,795. I guess that might have been considered a bargain. And the disc pack, from 1,144 to 8. I've never heard of Torch Computers, and with those prices, I'm guessing there's a reason they possibly disappeared. Next news article up is the Northern Fair. So over 5,000 people turned up for the first day of the Northern Computer Fair in Manchester. So yeah, that sounds nice. So little new hardware or software was of any note. I'm guessing they tend to sort of promote sort of new stuff around sort of London area or London competitions. But yeah, there you go. So what else have we got? So there's a curb on micro imports. So microcomputer manufacturers plan to lobby Margaret Thatcher to support their industry. Yep, I mean, to be fair, yeah, it's not a bad idea. I mean, obviously, trying to get behind the British manufacturing industry is always good. Yeah, look at what the last government did with ARM. We got behind it and then sold it to the Americans. To be fair, we sold it to SoftBank first, and then subsequently sold it to Americans. Yeah. Anyway, IT Computer Services Limited of Staines launched a portable rival to the Osborne 1. Now, the Osborne 1 was like a suitcase with a very tiny screen. This looks like a suitcase with a slightly better screen. But yeah, it's very reminiscent of a compact luggable, we used to call it, which is effectively a compact desk pro of the 1980s with a screen built into it and a handle. Yeah, very expensive, one of those sort of toys that businessmen probably had. But yeah, very nice. Now, speaking of Sinclair, I see what they did there. The Chatterbox is a new speech synthesizer compatible with the ZX81 and the Spectrum. Yeah, never heard of it. Obviously, everyone remembers the Koa microspeech, but other than that, yeah, that was the only one. And DK-Tronics might have done something as well. I'm sure there was another company that used to do a lot of adapters. So yeah, maybe this was integrated into one of those. Yeah, £49 plus VAT, and is available from William Stewart Systems in Brentwood. So if you ever sold any, or if you ever saw one, let me know. Now, Disney have got a competition for schools, and so, yeah, Disney and Acorn, blah, 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 yeah, the winner will receive a BBC Model B microcomputer with discs and teletext adapter. Very nice. Yeah, an MP has attacked the Dragon's move from its home in employment-torn Swansea and moved somewhere else in Wales. So, I guess, yeah, it's terrible, it's unfortunate, but I suppose at least they might have... kept the jobs within Wales, so it's not great, but yeah, there you go. Now, Dragon, again, another Dragon story. I've got a disk drive for the Dragon 32 microsystem, £450. Yes. It's quite expensive. Disk drives were really expensive back then, weren't they? Anyway, on with some adverts. Now, Pimania. Yeah, again, it's one of those, Automata, and they had Finger Pie, didn't they? Yeah, I never really got any of their stuff, to be honest with you, because I always thought the adverts were a bit bonkers. But there you go, that was Pimania. Talking of other games, let's have a look at Football Manager, an early version of the adverts before Kevin Tom stuck his face on them. It's interesting because obviously the font on there for the Football Manager was very reminiscent of the very early cardboard sleeves, which I think Kevin Tom's had to upgrade and put a proper sort of full-coloured cover on before W.H. Smith bought them all. Or yeah, before they bought loads of them. So yeah, I think at this point he was very much selling things from his own house. Anyway, let's move on to the 16th of December and let's have a look. So, yeah, Sinclair critical of BMMG stance. I don't know who the BMMG is. British Microcomputer Manufacturers Group. So what's Sinclair having a moan at? So have a look. So he's critically. So what's Sinclair having a moan about? Let's have a look. So he's critically. So what's Sinclair having a moan about? Well, he's reacted critically to last week's proposal to protect the UK microcomputer industry from unfair competition. Yeah, yeah. I guess he's got his own reasons for saying what he wants to do. But yeah. You would have thought he would have been sort of behind that, but I suppose you could read into it a bit more. We'll have a look at it in a minute. Anyway, also another story on the front cover is an independent authority for cable TV. Cable TV, it will never catch on. I mean, in fairness, yeah, it's mostly Virgin Media, and it's terrible if anyone's ever experienced it. But let's have a look at the news and see if any other stories catch my eye. Again, let's have a look at the regulations, and yeah, you can read it on screen. I'm not going to go through it. I think Sinclair wanted to do his own things. But in other Sinclair news, the Spectrum goes on sale at WH Smith's. So it's now available over the counter at select WH Smith stores, where previously it was only mail order. So obviously WH Smith was also selling the ZX81 at 65 branches last week. So yeah, I guess it's very early days, and yeah, I always thought it was April it came out in, but yeah, maybe I was wrong. Anyway, a computer that you do sometimes see, the Sword M5. I can't recall if that's the one I've used, or did I use an Aquarius once. It was one of those devices that was just, yeah, another computer. There was that many, another ZX80 based machine with 8K ROM, 4K RAM, and 16K video, so it was fairly limited. So, but yeah, it was an interesting time as a buyer to make sure you bought the right product. Anyway, moving on, the January Computer Show, the London Home Computer Show will be held at the Royal Horticultural Society, odd place. There we go, and what we're going to have some things there, Lynx and the BBC machines. Entry is £1.50, so yeah. So, VIX use PET peripherals. Now, I always thought the reason the Commodore 64 drive was terrible is because it was sort of backwards compatible or used the same sort of technology as the PET. So maybe the VIC-20, it says VIC-20 or Commodore 64 machines here. I thought they were, but obviously a company called Interbod has got a new device, a new peripheral that will allow you to connect PET devices to it. So so provides IE and RS-232. So yeah, okay, yeah, fine. So it might be an improvement on the basic Commodore offering. Maybe not. I mean, if you've got a VIC-20 or Commodore 64, I think the last thing you want is a massive set of Commodore PET disk drives sitting on your desk. I don't think you'd have much room for anything else. Right, Torque dispenser. So Coca-Cola introducing video games vending machines in the US. Yeah, I don't think that ever happened. Right, Jupiter Ace, remember that? As a users group, based in by the Brighton-based software house Remsoft. Pay them £7.50 subscription free, and what you'll do, you'll get free issues of a newsletter, and you'll also lose £7. Commodore profits are up. I think a lot of people at the time, it was the sort of start of the climb or the bubble of home microcomputer sales, and obviously Commodore and in our case in the UK, Sinclair were the two of the sort of pioneers in their respective countries. But yeah, it's good to know they're making money. Let's have a look at everything but the kitchen sink. Let's have a look at the final story. Everything but a computer or the kitchen sink. So a new wristwatch, which has got a TV screen and an FM radio, will go on sale. Yeah, I think I've seen loads of things over the years, and they never seem to be as good as you think. So let's skip on to the 30th of December now. So it looks like there was no Christmas Day edition or Christmas Week edition. I guess they wanted some time off, which is understandable. And the lead story is the IT, the race we must not lose. So yeah, again, the IT industry was quite strong in the early days of the 80s, and yeah, government were well behind it. So Jupiter Ace story here about Forth being obviously the programming language it uses, being the only computer I think or low cost computer to use it being hit in the high street. So it started to be sold. £89. That wasn't a bad price really. Again, it's one of those things I've seen plenty of them over the years. Never really used one. So anyway, let's dive straight into the news stories. So yeah, what we got here, the headline from talk about the IT conference, and what they're trying to do. Again, it all starts to get all sort of business like, and doesn't really interest me. What does interest me is a push-button keyboard for the ZX81. So an inexpensive solution to the problems of the ZX81 keyboard has been offered by London-based computer company, or unit-based company, File60. I've heard that name before. Did they do the ones for the Atari as well? Anyway, so basically it's just effectively it's just a cheap push-button thing, but it costs less than a tenner. So that includes VAT and postage and packaging. So I guess it's one of those sort of things. It's it probably protects the keyboard a little bit as well, and just sticks on top of it. Although the downside is, if the membrane goes, you have to replace the membrane. Does that mean this thing will stick back on the new one? Or who knows? Anyway, so what do we have here? £500,000 boost for primary school software. So local education authorities have been given grants to boost software. So that's possibly why Sinclair push so many different variants of software out for the education market. He just wanted a slice of that pie. So what we've got here is got a record hire ban bodes ill for the software library. So EMI has won a High Court injunction preventing a record retailer from hiring out its records. I guess they wanted to sell them as much as they could. Understandable, that's what they do. What else we got now? One micro per schools. Now a bit of another argument between MPs. And understandable in this case that you can buy one research machine for £922, or you can buy a twin pack, effectively ZX Spectrums and monochrome monitors each for £346. Now, to make sense, if you wanted to buy, get more money, get more value for the money, you go for the two Spectrums. But obviously, this MP has decided, no, you can only have one, rather than buying two cheaper computers. Apparently I think the education or technology minister at the time warned that it would lead to an increase in the cost of the scheme. Somebody will have to work this out for me. So one computer at £922 versus two computers and monitors, which cost, from what I read here, £346 each. So that'll be around about £700. So £220 odd cheaper. But the MP, or the Education, or the Junior Information Technology Minister, to give me his proper title, says that the cheaper option will cost more. Anyway, the final story we're going to look at is IBM has halted its legal proceedings against Hitachi for nicking things, apparently. In return, Hitachi has agreed to hand over to the court stolen material. And I'm sure they wouldn't have made a copy of it, because, who would do such a thing? 18 employees were accused of acting illegally in the acquiring confidential information on a new disk drive. Wow, a disk drive. To be fair, IBM and Hitachi get together to make the the Desk Star hard drive? They might have done. Anyway, that's the news. And what I'm going to take a look at now, what I tried to do last month, I tried to look for a story within the magazines, and I could link it to a bit of software that I had. And these three magazines, there wasn't much in it. The only thing, again, was The Hobbit, and you don't want to see The Hobbit again. So what I did, I went to my local computer store, which is Entertainment World in the Radleys in Birmingham. And what I did, I managed to just pick up a terrible game for £3. And here it is. It's Hustler by Bubble Boss Software for the ZX Spectrum, 16K or 48K. It's not a game I'd ever heard of before. And it says on the back, tens of thousands of people already play the greatest games for the Commodore 64. Now Spectrum users can play this perfect blend of 6 pool-type games with superb graphics, sounds, and Sinclair or Kempston joystick compatible. Yeah, or keys may be used, which I will do instead. So you can, whatever, top, back, and side spin. You can do all sorts of things with it. You can be a pool hustler, and yeah. Let's see if the game actually lives up to the quality, well, use that term loosely, of the cover. I'm going to turn that music down because it's terrible. Let's press a key. So any ball in any pocket, ball's in order, ball in its pocket, score the pockets mini pool, highest and lowest. I think what I'll do, I'll just go for a one player game and I'll try and hit the balls in order. Now because it's using the Sinclair joystick, I think it's using 6, 7, 8, 9 and 0. And I think what you do is, left, right, up, down, and I assume 0 when you get to that. Oh. Yeah, it's as I said, it's a bit different from the cover art, isn't it, really? The ball sort of, yeah, a collision seems to be a bit, I'm guessing they probably worked on it a little bit, but it looks fairly terrible. I mean, the cue ball seems to go forever. Am I going to pot that myself? I mean, you would have thought they might have had some sort of colour on the. Yep, yeah, I potted the cue ball. So that's always a good start. See if I can hit this one in the corner. I suppose at least we can be pleased that the music doesn't continue throughout the game. Oh. In fairness, I've never really been very good at pool. Yeah, I think what this game suffers from is terrible slowdown once all the other balls have stopped, or the other balls have stopped moving. Yeah, that was terrible. So 14 shots so far, and I've not managed to pot anything. Yeah. It cost me £3 this game did. Just saying. Nope. Yeah. You know what? I think we've probably. I know it's a very short look at a game, but it's Christmas and you've probably got other things to do than watch me attempt to play billiards. So I think what I need to do at this point is just press this magical button, and yeah, there you go. So that was Hustler then, from Bubble Bus Software. Possibly not their finest hour. I think the finest hour was probably Starquake, to be perfectly honest with you. But yeah, so I think what I'll do, I'll end the video here, and all I'll say is thank you for everybody for joining in over the years. It's yeah, although the channel's not massive, it's grown a lot over the last year, and and it's always welcome to get people's comments. If you like anything I do, please let me know. If you don't, obviously let me know as well. But in the meantime, wish everybody a happy Christmas and a good New Year, and usual. Click the bell icon if you want to get notified when one of my videos drops. I haven't been drinking. And I'll see you in the new year. Bye bye.